TV last night? No, it's not weird. Yeah, no, I was, you guys, if you don't know, I do a lot of live streaming. I live stream on Twitch at least once a week, and I read Pulp Fiction stories, or in the case of last night, I read advertisements from 1930s romance Rangeland Romance magazine. Pretty awesome. I have a card that you guys can take with you that has my Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook pages on them. So grab that at the end of the show if I don't get blinded. It's great. You saw me in the famous death scenes. I know you see him right there. I remember. Yeah, I also, if you come back more than one time this year, I also have a show on the Globe stage with Captain No Beard at 12:30 and 2:30, and it's famous death scenes. So come back and see that. But that's not what this show is right now, I hope. I didn't check. Honestly, it's welcome to the Gwendolyn Show! I am very excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're here because I recently heard the most epic fairy tale I've ever heard in my entire life, and I'd like to share it with all of you. Do you want to hear a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye! Great. The story that I heard is the Greek romantic tragedy of the Three Little Pigs. How many of you know the story of the Three Little Pigs? Do you know it? You do? Okay, good, because I skimmed it. So I think I have all the parts, so if I forget something, you guys can let me know at the end. How you guys are just in time. You haven't missed anything. Okay, good. All right, are you ready for a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye. I said, are you ready for a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye. Now, without further ado, I present to all of you the Greek romantic tragedy of the Three Little Pigs. Woo. I like that. I was like, woo! As told by Gwendolyn Steele. All of those reactions were appropriate. Here we go. Once upon a time in an ancient forest, there lived three little pigs. Their names were Winkin, Blinkin, and Nod. They had a lovely childhood growing up, sometimes going to market, sometimes staying home, sometimes eating roast beef, sometimes having none, and weeing all over the place. Not like that. Eventually, the three little pigs grew up, and their mother told them it was time for them to go out and make their way in the world. As Winkin, Blinkin, and Nod walked along, they discussed what kind of houses they were going to build. I will build my house out of straw, said Winkin, the first little pig. That way, it will be nice and light and airy and have a yummy hay smell all the time. Blinkin and Nod shook their heads at their brother. Don't build it out of straw. They said, if you build it out of straw, it's going to get knocked down in the first stiff wind. But Winkin didn't care, and he began building his house anyway. Blinkin was the next little pig, and he said, I'm going to build my house out of sticks. That way, it will be stronger than Winkin's straw house. Don't build your house out of sticks, said Nod. If you build your house out of sticks, someone could come along and pull a stick out of the bottom of the house, and the whole thing would fall down, just like Jenga.
Jenga!
Yeah, thank you for knowing. Hi, you're just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, someone new just came in. I'm just going to catch him up really quick, okay? This is the Greek romantic tragedy of the three little pigs, Winkin, Blinkin, and Nod. They weed all over the place, but not how that lady thinks. That's hashtag clean up in aisle 6. Then they got kicked out of their house because their mom was like, you're 32, you live in my basement, go get a real life. And so when you're going to build houses, first one's out of straw, that's a questionable housing material. Next one's out of sticks, that's a questionable housing material too, but you pull a stick out of the bottom of the house, it can fall down just like Jenga. Just like when you play Jenga, giant Jenga on that beach and you pull it out and it fell on that kid and you can't go back to Florida anymore. Got it? Got it. Okay, thank you. But Blinkin didn't care. He began building his house anyway. Nod was the third little pig, and he walked alone to his plot of land. My brothers are ridiculous, said Nod, shaking his head. Everybody knows you're supposed to build your house out of gingerbread and candy. How else are you going to lure two little children inside so you can fatten them up and eat them? Hi, you guys are just in time. You haven't missed anything. Okay, you guys, I'm going to just catch up the new people really quick, okay? This is the Greek romantic tragedy of the three little pigs, Winkin, Blinkin, and Nod. Their mom was like, you're 42, get out of my basement. And they were like, we have jobs. And she was like, you're not even a manager at Pizza Hut, go away. And so they built houses versus out of questionable house material. That's straw. Second one's out of sticks. I drink a lot of wine at night by myself. You know that. Don't nod so readily. And third one's out of gingerbread and candy, because Nod likes to eat children, which is weird, but it's not cannibalism. It's only cannibalism if it's the same species eating the other same species. Otherwise, it's not cannibalism. That's hashtag science. Got it? Okay, thank you. Winkin, Blinkin, and Nod worked on their houses for quite some time. Winkin on his straw house, Blinkin on his stick house, and Nod on his gingerbread and candy house. After a while, they were all finished, and they held corresponding housewarming parties where they got a lot of fun gifts. They got a coffee maker, the blender, the toaster, the coffee maker, the microwave, and a coffee maker. For a time, the three little pigs lived happily all in a row, when one morning there was a knock on Winkin's straw house door. Oh, I know. Yeah, you guys can do the knocks on the benches, and then you're part of the story. There was a knock. Yeah, because I can see you, so you have to do it. It's not like, you know how when you watch Dora the Explorer and she's like, what's Spanish for star? And you don't say anything because she's a cartoon, she can't hear you, and then she goes, that's right, Estrella, Dora. It's not like that, and I can see you if you don't do the knocking, and if you don't participate, it hurts me in my heart hole. Thank you. There was a knock on Lincoln's straw house door. Lincoln opened the door just a crack and peered out and saw what appeared to be a large hairy woman wearing a lady's nightgown. He was very confused because the hairy woman had big ears, a long nose, and sharp, pointy teeth. What do you want? Yelled Lincoln through the straw house door. Excuse me, little pig, said an old lady voice that definitely sounded fake. Little pig, let me come in. Now Lincoln was very aware of stranger danger, so he slammed the door shut. Yeah, he slammed the door shut. Nice. And yelled through the door, no, I will not let you in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Suddenly, the fake-sounding old lady voice was replaced by a loud-sounding wolfy voice. And the wolfy voice said, little pig, if you don't let me in, I will huff. And I will puff, and I will blow your house down. And with that, the wolf and the lady's nightgown huffed and puffed and wait. Did you guys know that it was a wolf? Yeah, okay, if you didn't know it was a wolf outside the door, it was a wolf outside the door. If you didn't notice, that's okay, because Lincoln was face-to-face with the wolf, and he did not even notice it was a wolf. He was like, that's a pretty sweet nightgown, because it had ruffles and ridges all the way down it. He probably got it at Macy's, but you know he used a coupon, because Macy's stuff is expensive. Yeah, you get me. So it was a wolf outside the door the whole time. You guys got that? Say aye. Aye! Perfect. The wolf huffed and puffed and blew Lincoln's straw house down. Well, the wolf had to take a second to catch his breath after the huffing and puffing. That gave Lincoln the opportunity to get up and run next door to his brother Lincoln's stick house. He ran inside and shut the door. Apparently twice. He ran inside and shut the door. Nice. And began practicing. How you guys are just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, there's some new people that just came in. I'm just going to catch them up to the story, okay? Okay, hi. This is the Greek romantic tragedy of the three little pigs, Lincoln, Blinken, and Nod. They lived in a shoe house with their parents and their mom, and she didn't know what to do because she had 72 kids, and so she was like, get out of my house. And the kids, they had to go out and build their own houses. I don't know how they got the permits for it. I don't know how they built the houses. They don't have opposable thumbs. They can't all hold the tools. First house is out of straw. That one just got blown down. We're going to go to the steakhouse. I drink a lot of wine, but did you know that if you have rosé and you separate it by a scientific process, then you can have red wine and white wine. That doubles the amount of wine. No, you can't do that. I don't know. I'm not a chiropractor. Anyway, and Mom's got a gingerbread and candy house, which sounds delicious, but it's shellacked all the heck so that it doesn't melt. Got it? Okay, thank you. Thank you. You guys, I'm crying out of my forehead. Anybody else? Okay. That gave Lincoln the opportunity to get up and run next door to his brother Blinken's stick house. He ran inside and shut the door and began frantically explaining to Blinken about the wolf and the lady's nightgown when suddenly there was a knock on Blinken's stick house door. Blinken peered through the peephole and saw what appeared to be a large hairy woman wearing a lady's nightgown. He was very confused because the hairy woman had big ears, a long nose, and sharp, pointy teeth. It was the wolf. Is the same wolf from before? There's only one wolf in the store. Only one wolf. Sometimes they travel in groups. It's not a flock of wolves. It's just one wolf. Uno wolves. I'm bilingual. Uno wolves. And so the wolf, he caught his breath, and then he got up, and he walked over. But Lincoln, he got a head start. But you know how pigs run, right? They're like, ee! But their legs are just little, so they don't cover a lot of distance. So they got over there, and then the wolf caught his breath, stood up, walked over. He was like, hey there, little Red Riding Hood. He moonlights as a lounge singer at a cigar bar, but only on Thursdays. If you want to go, I can get you in. What's happening over on this side of the stage? Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. I'm not going to get fired. Don't get me fired. Guys, talk amongst yourselves. What does this say? Well, that's hashtag science, you guys.
We see it.
Did you know this mug can fit 2 ciders? This show's going to get real good. Everyone take a drink out of your drink. No, I will not chug it. I can't fit anything else in here. I've tried. Hey, you're just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, someone new just got here, so I'm going to catch her up to the story really quick, okay? This is the Greek romantic tragedy of the three little pigs, Bacon, Blinken, and Nod. They weed all over the place, but not how you're thinking. Don't laugh at that. Then they got kicked out of their mom's shoe house. she didn't know what to do, but she kicked him out and they built houses. First one got blown down, forget about that one. Next one said a stick house, that's the one we're in right now. There's a wolf in a lady's nightgown, but there's only one wolf. Uno wolves, I'm bilingual, hashtag science. And then there's gingerbread and candy house, because Nod's gonna eat children, but did you know it's not cannibalism if Nod eats children, because he's a pig. It's only cannibalism if you eat the same species, but did you know that it takes 3 pigs 6 hours to get rid of 1 human body? That's hashtag science, that's forensic psychology. Hashtag science, got it? Okay, thank you. And an educational show. You take same no, hey there, and he got over there right after the wolf. That's hashtag science, that's physics. Hashtag science, I don't know, I'm not a chiropractor. Anyway, what do you want? You'll blink it through the stick house door. Excuse me, little pig, said the wolf. He was using his fake-sounding old lady voice again. Little pig, let me come in. Frantically, Wicked made the "No, don't do it" sign to his brother. Lincoln heeded his warning and yelled through the door, "No, I will not let you in. Not by the hair, like chinny chin chin." Suddenly, the fake-sounding old lady voice was replaced again by the loud-sounding wolfy voice. And the wolfy voice said, "Little pig, if you don't let me in, I will huff, and I will puff, and I will blow your house down." And with that, the wolf in the lady's nightgown huffed and puffed and blew Lincoln's stick house down around him. Oh. I know. That's rude. You can't just go blow and run down people's... The wolf has really good lung control. Nope, not that motion. He's got really good diaphragm control. I'm not a good role model, children. That's hashtag science. That's gastroenterology.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And ophthalmology.
Yes.
I don't know, I'm not a herpetologist. Osteoporosis. That's what that girl said. Well, the wolf had to take a minute and catch his breath after all that huffing and puffing, because he was about to pass right out. That gave Winkin and Blinkin the opportunity to get up and run next door to their brother Nod's gingerbread house. They ran inside and shut the door. Twice. They ran inside and shut the door. Nice, and began hi, you're just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, I'm just going to catch up the new person really quick. Unless I pass out. Okay, everything's fine. This is the Greek romantic tragedy of the 3 little pigs, Wake and Blake and Nod. They got kicked out of their house. Their mom was like, go make something of themselves. And they're like, we don't want to. We're going to make houses instead. So one thing, a straw house. That got blown down. Forget about that one. There's a wolf in a lady's nightgown that he got from Macy's, but you know he had to sign up for that credit card because he was going to get that discount. And he didn't think he was going to get the discount because his credit score is like at 480. But he got approved for the discount, and now every April he gets charged $29.99. He's like, oh, I got to cancel that, but he never does. And the third house is gingerbread and candy house, and we were learning about science. I'm a hashtag educational show, and it's hashtag science, and we learned about volcanology. Got it? I got a horn. Okay, that means my time is over. No, joking. This is shut the door. Yeah, where am I? He blew the house down, right? Is that where I am? You what? We're in the gingerbread house. I'm over here now. I don't know what day it is. I've been blacked out for 5 minutes. Cider. They're in the gingerbread house. They ran inside and shut the door. And began frantically explaining to Nod about the wolf in the lady's nightgown when suddenly they saw sitting at Nod's kitchen table. There were 2 children, a boy and a girl. Nod saw them looking at the children and he said, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Let me introduce you to my friends. This is Hansel and Gretel. They are here for lunch. He's gonna eat them. Yeah. Winkin and Blinkin were about to ask Nod what was going on with Hansel and Gretel when suddenly they remembered that outside the door there was probably a wolf in a lady's nightgown getting ready to knock. So they looked at the door, awaiting the knock that would inevitably come. But no knock came. You get extra credit for effort. So they looked at the peephole of the door, but instead of seeing the wolf in the lady's nightgown, they saw a girl. The girl was wearing a red cloak and hood. They were about to warn the girl about the wolf, and the girl began speaking to the wolf. Why, grandmother, said the girl to the wolf, what are you doing here? Grandmother, I was just about to come see you. But can I ask you a question? Did you have work done? Because you look different. What big ears you have. All the better to hear you with, my dear, said the wolf. He was using his fake-sounding old lady voice again. And grandmother, said the girl in the red cloak, what a big nose you have. All the better to smell you with, my dear, said the wolf. And grandmother, said the girl in the red hood, what sharp teeth you have. The wolf stopped using his fake-sounding old lady voice and he used his real wolfy voice and he said, all the better to eat you with, my dear. And with that, the wolf in the lady's nightgown swallowed the girl in the red hood down whole without even chewing. I know, he is going to get indigestion. children's places. Mastication. Hashtag science. I got it? Okay, I don't know, I'm not a genealogist. Anyway, Lincoln and Blinken looked at each other in confusion, then looked back up at Peopleward and saw the wolf had taken a toothpick out of his pocket and was casually picking his teeth as he meandered away. Since he had just eaten that whole little girl, he was no longer hungry for bacon. Yeah, that's what I deserve. Lincoln and Blinken looked at each other, then looked back at the table where Nod was with Hansel and Gretel. The table was heaped with every kind of food imaginable, and Hansel and Gretel were eating and eating, and Nod was encouraging them to eat more and more, even though the two children seemed stuffed to their gills. But children don't have gills, though. You guys know that, right?
They were fish.
No, they're not fish. They're children. No, you can't take a child to the ocean and throw it in and be like, you're free!
You can do it once.
No, you can't. You can do it 4 times, but you're going to get in trouble every time. No, because they don't have gills. They can't breathe underwater. No, and that's why I can't go back to Florida. So that's hashtag science. That's anatomy. Yeah, and hashtag science. Biology. Hashtag science. Wait, every so often Nod would have Hansel stick his finger out. Nod would pinch it, so he was trying to figure out how fat it was getting. Lincoln and Blinken were about to ask Nod what was going on when suddenly there was an impatient knock on the front door. Before anyone could answer, the door burst open and in stormed a girl. She was blonde and had curly hair and carried a tiny little dog in a purse underneath her arm. She marched to the center of the room. OMG, she said impatiently. It's about time you let me in. Do you even know who I am? My name is Goldilocks, obviously, and I'm like starving right now. I need some porridge, but it cannot be too hot and it cannot be too cold, and I need a bed to lie down in, but it cannot be too hard and it cannot be too soft because I am a delicate flower. Thank you. It's like speaking a different language. Before anyone could answer Goldilocks, there was a big loud knock on the front door. And the door opened to reveal 3 bears, a mama bear, a papa bear, and a baby bear. Where is she? They all roared. Then they saw Goldilocks standing in the middle of the room. You, they said, pointing at her, you were in our house, you ate our porridge, you slept in our beds, and you sat in our chairs. And you broke mine, said the baby bear. I know you love the baby bear. You can't take it home, though. The baby bear's voice is higher because he's a baby, so he sounds like, meanie, meanie. But the big bears, they sound like, brr, brr. Have you guys ever talked to bears? No, you don't know. Big bears, brr, brr. Baby bears, meanie, meanie. It's hashtag science, you guys. I just need you to know this in case you ever meet a bear in the wild. If you want to know how big it is, this is what you do. You walk up to the bear, you be like, yo, bear, what's up? And if the bear answers you like, brr, brr, it's a big bear. But if it answers you like, meanie, meanie, it's a baby bear. Yeah, you guys got that. That's hashtag science. That's,
Rheumatologist.
Hermatology. And speech pathology. And episiotomy. Hashtag science. No? I don't know. I'm not a virologist. The bears stormed up to Goldilocks. We're going to get you, they roared. And your little dog, too! Okay, thank you for laughing. I'll take it even if it's pity. Before anyone could separate Goldilocks and the 3 bears, the door burst open yet again, and in ran a boy. Underneath one arm he had a big golden harp, and underneath the other arm he had a big white goose. He leapt over a candlestick and ran to the middle of the room. Well, that guy is nimble, said Winkin. And quick, said Blinken. Hey, Jack, what's up? Said Nod. Everyone be quiet, yelled Jack, and a hush fell over the house. No one said a word, but in the distance, everyone started to hear loud, rumbly footsteps. And the footsteps were getting closer to the house. And then they heard a voice, and the voice said, fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. The footsteps got closer. The giant's voice got louder. Be he alive or be he dead, said the giant. I'll grind his bones to make my bread. No one said a word. Everyone looked at each other in fear. Everyone held their breath for it seemed like 5 minutes. It was probably like 30 seconds because you know how you're really sure it's on and on and on to go on forever. And you're like, don't go in the room. But they go in that room, they get stabbed by the killer, and he saw it coming. She was standing in the middle of the theater yelling at the screen, and everyone was like, Gwendolyn, just sit down. Is that just me? Sorry. No? Okay, thanks. No one said a word as the footsteps stopped right next to the house. And then they continued on. Away from the house, getting quieter and quieter. The giant's voice got quieter, too. The giant's voice was deeper when I got past the house. That's the Doppler effect. Yeah. If you don't know what the Doppler effect is, it's when a siren comes at you and it's like, woo, woo, and then it gets past you. And it's like, it sounds drunk, right? Doppler and drunk, those start with the same letters. That's how you remember meteorology. Yeah, that's hashtag science, meteorology, and also astronomy. Hashtag science, and also Scientology. Hashtag science. No, yeah, they don't like that joke in Clearwater, Florida either. Anyway, as the footsteps died away, everyone let out a huge sigh of relief. When suddenly the goose-egg Jack was holding squawked and laid an egg right in the middle of the floor. Wow. I heard someone go, ooh. What kind of gooses do you have in Maryland? Everyone looked at the egg and they saw that it wasn't just any old egg. It was a solid gold egg. So they looked at the goose and they looked at Jack, but before anyone could do anything, the roof of the gingerbread house got ripped open and the giant's big ugly face peered down at them. Aha! So the giant, I found you. Fee, fi, fo. Is something burning? Everyone looked back at the oven where Nod was standing. Nod quickly shut the oven door and looked off in the distance. Anyway, said the giant, fee, fi, fo. Suddenly in the distance there was a loud thwack, thwack noise and then a huge crack. And the giant looked up. Oh no, said the giant, as a huge beanstalk fell down on him, crushing him to death. Hey! Yeah, no, Boo, no, that's not Boo. He's gonna eat them.
I like beanstalks.
Yeah, no, the beanstalk regenerates, but it gotta crush a giant first.
Yay!
Yeah, that's gravity. Yeah, thank you for taking that Boo back. No, he opened it just like you open, you know how you open those blue tins that are supposed to have cookies? Sometimes they have swing kits in them. But he was like, ooh, he got one with cookies. He was like, yay, pigs in a blanket. And bear kebabs. He was gonna eat them. Timber, yelled a voice in the distance. Then there was a polite knock on the front door. This is the last knock. And the door opened to reveal a handsome-looking lumberjack-type fellow. Oh, sorry, said the handsome-looking lumberjack-type fellow in his handsome-looking lumberjack-type voice. Was that your giant? Ting! Greta looked up from the table and saw the lumberjack in the door. Father, she said to the lumberjack. Gretel, said the lumberjack, I thought I'd never see you again. Greta leapt from the table and ran to the lumberjack. He scooped her into his arms and hugged her and happily carried her out the gingerbread house door. Meanwhile, Goldilocks and the three bears were discussing things in the corner. Listen, Goldilocks was saying, I know a place on the road that makes amazing porridge. Let's go there, I'll buy us around, and we'll talk this whole thing out. Well, bears love porridge. They did not need any more encouragement to happily follow Goldilocks out the gingerbread house door. That left Jack standing in the middle of the room. Well, said Jack, I'd better get home. That hill ain't gonna climb itself.
That's what she said.
Okay, that's what she said. Don't get me fired. And he went back over the candlestick and ran out the gingerbread house door, still carrying the harp underneath one arm. And the goose had laid the golden egg underneath the other arm. Wink and Blink and Nod looked at each other and heaved a huge sigh. Wow, said Winkin. A whole lot just happened here, and I'm confused. Yeah, me too, said Blinkin, and now I'm like a little hungry. And me too, said Nod. I'm hungry too. I wonder what we should do. Then Nod had an idea. I know, said Nod, and he put his arms around his brothers and he gave them a hug. Let's do one of our most favorite things, you guys. Let's all go get hot dogs! Yay! Said Winkin and Blinkin, and the three little pigs went wee, 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 all the way to the hot dog stand and lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you. Did I get all the parts? Yeah, I didn't miss anything. No, do you have a question, child?
Dude, it
What?
went like that way and then up,
The thing where?
back through, and then back around.
The thing where what? The thing where Nod put people. Did I ever say Nod put people in the oven? Hansel and Gretel. Gretel left with her dad. Yeah. Do you have? Who has another question? Yes.
Is it coincidental that Hansel and hot dogs both start with H?
Is it coincidental that hot dogs and Hansel both start with H? It is, but not in the way that you're thinking. Okay, so hot dogs are named after for Hansel's great-great-grandfather, and his name was also Hansel, but his middle name was Hot Dog, and he made this tubular meat-like product, and everyone was like, we want to name it Hansel, and he's like, no, don't name it Hansel. I don't want people to be like, we're going to go eat Hansel. That's weird. And so he called it his middle name, which was Hot Dog.
Likely story.
Thank you. Yes, child, you have a question? Hansel who? Gretel's brother? No, Gretel left. Him who? Okay. Yes, kids, to the back. Oh, that's a good question. Why do the pigs eat hot dogs? That's cannibalism. Remember how I said it's only cannibalism if you eat the same species, right? So there's different kinds of hot dogs. There's beef hot dogs, and there's pork hot dogs, and there's turkey hot dogs, but we don't talk about those because they're gross. So they're going to go get hot dogs from a hot dog truck. You guys know what a hot dog truck is, right? Okay, so they're going to go to the hot dog truck. They go to the hot dog truck every week on Thursdays, and so the hot dog truck guy knows them, so he always keeps the beef hot dogs and the pork hot dogs separate. And every day he's like, beef and pork, and beef and pork, and he has a little chant, and he does this little swaying thing, and sometimes he like does the arms, but then he just throws the hot dogs and it's a mess. So he doesn't do that very often. Anyway, the guy's working in his hot dog truck, but this is the thing. He's been working 17 days without a day off, and his assistant called in hungover for 3 days in a row. So he is just sweating in that hot dog truck, and he's just trying to put his kid through college. So he's working really hard. He's like, beef and pork, and beef and pork, and beef and pork. What's over there? And pork and beef. Oh, no. And he was like, oh, no. He mixed them up. So they was like, well, it's okay. It's Tuesday. Those pigs only come on Thursdays. And then in the distance, he hears the little clops of their little hoofies. Yeah. I have sound effects. And he's like, oh, no. Where's that coming from? And in the mist, it parts, and these pigs emerge out of the mist. And then he hears, da-da, 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 because his neighbor in the next hot dog truck is watching Jaws. And so he hears that, and then the pigs are getting closer, and they're chanting, hot dogs, hot dogs. And he was like, oh, no, oh, no. And he was going to shut the shutter, but he didn't have time, because you have to do a latch, and he keeps it locked so kids can't. Anyway, so he was going to do it, and they get up there, and he's like, hi, pigs. You want some onion rings? And they're like, hot dogs. And he's like, okay, but I just got some really good mozzarella sticks. And they're like, hot dogs and a side order of mozzarella sticks. And he's like, okay. So he's like, oh, I got to take it from the beef side. Hopefully they're not the pork hot dogs because they all look alike. And he puts them in the buns and he gives them to the pigs. They all put their condiments, like Winkin, he puts coleslaw on his, and Blinkin, he's ketchup and mustard, and Nads eats him plain because he's a weirdo. And so they take them, and he's like, the hot dog truck guy is like, oh, I hope they don't. Oh no, oh no. And they ate them, and they didn't notice whether it was pork or beef because they don't have taste buds. Thank you. Got one more question really quick.
How are the jousters?
How are what jousters? There's no jousters in this show. I couldn't get them to sign the contract because they had those gauntlets on. They couldn't hold the pens. I tried them next year. I'm just gonna kidnap. Anyway, thank you, child, for reining me in. Okay, Lords and ladies, thank you so much for joining me here. I'm gonna be right over there with my buttons and stickers for sale. You can also grab one of those cards with all of my social media information on it that I talked about earlier. Come up and say hi. I accept high fives and handshakes. Stick around though, because up next on this stage is the musical stylings of the Rogues, and they're only here on this stage one weekend and another weekend in October not on the stage. So stick around for them. They're amazing. Have a great rest of your day at the Maryland Renaissance Festival. Thank you.